with is the clicker. Just about all our training revolves around the clicker. We always start with the clicker in a food reward. So what the clicker does, if I could ask for an assistant, maybe, young man, if I gave you, let me see, if I asked you to raise your hand, could you raise your hand for me, sir? And I gave you $10. Could you raise your hand for me, sir? And I gave you $10. $10. This is pack training. I mean, it works. Dogs learn by observation. Humans learn by observation. It does. And Drummer says, here, I'll take $10 or some food. $10 and this is so important to him. But the food value, like the $10 is to us, the food value is very important to dogs. So if I take a little chunk of treat here, and I ask him to sit, as soon as he sits, I can click and mark that behavior and give him the treat. And the common question about that clicker right away is, well, why do you need the clicker? Can't we just ask him to sit and give him a treat? Yes, but what happens if we are a few feet away from him? Sit. And we can't get the treat to him right away. We can mark that behavior right away. So if I asked to raise your hand, $10, and I threw you $10 or walked over and gave you $10. It marked the behavior, him raising in his hand, of Drummer sitting down, stay consistent. And if I had sent my dog on retrieve and I was going to use the clicker to mark that behavior, and there was a bumper out here, and the dog ran out and picked that bumper up, but I can't get him a treat right now, I can click to mark that behavior and say, good dog. And he comes back and he knows he gets a treat because I marked that exact behavior at that exact time. And you'll hear, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard, and if you haven't, timing is very, very important in dog training. So that clicker allows us to be right on, to be you know, exactly when he picks up that bumper, boom, and he gets his food reward. Good boy. And this clicker in the food rewards, you see how attentive he's 5 months old. You see how attentive he is? I really like dogs that look at me, that want to work with me. I guess I like all dogs, but it's a little more difficult for the dog that's halfway across the auditorium right now. So he's paying perfect attention to me. I have food rewards for him, and I can build this. I can catch these behaviors, catch that behavior, and reward it. And it works great. You build that attentiveness. You get a very consistent, reliable animal. There's some videos on our website. 8-10 weeks. They'll be pretty reliable. You know, a couple sessions of this, they'll be pretty reliable. So that's the clicker.